Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and more importantly, really excited to be here with our guest. Tiana is the egg donor coordinator at Your Eggs. And so we're going to get an inside look at what it's like to be the coordinator and be working with the egg donors and what that experience is like for her and how important having an egg donor coordinator, not just having one, but having a good egg donor coordinator is when you are trying to find the right egg donors and match them with the right intended parents. So Tiana, I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. So, as we get started, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your role, like what your position is at Your Eggs?
So I'm one of the egg donor coordinators here at Your Eggs, and I also assist with some of the marketing on the side as well as creating some of the TikToks and stuff. But most of the time, I'm taking in applications and speaking to the donors that come in and matching them with the IPs that we have.
That's great. Actually, I think that's a cool thing that you're doing with the, being on the egg donor side, coordinating that and speaking to the donors, but also coming up with some of the TikToks and marketing side of things to get more donors, because they go hand in hand. So they'll see TikTok and then they'll see you, or speak to you on the inside. So that's cool. So what's it like to come up with a TikTok or to come up with a strategy for making a TikTok that's going to appeal to the right donors that you're trying to reach?
So we try to stay on trend with what's going on social media. There's a sound trending or a trend that's going on. We like to mix it in with comedy and educational. So we make some funny videos here and there, but we also try to keep it educational, trying to educate the viewers on the egg donation process and what it's like. So we like to do a mix of both.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's really good to bring a lighthearted approach and bring some humor to the process. It is obviously a really serious thing and a beautiful thing that they're doing, but many of these women are younger, I imagine, correct?
Yeah. So we have our donors are usually between the age of 19 to 29. So that's usually our target that we go for when we're promoting on social media.
Yeah. So it's good to have some humor so you can connect with them and that they could realize, oh, this is an option. This is something they could do. They could help a couple in need. That's beautiful. So I love that. Why, in your opinion, is social media such a powerful tool when it comes to recruiting donors, and not just any donor, but like good qualified donors?
Okay, so I have this funny example. There was a week when I was coming in with a couple applications, let's say about 20 to 25 applications that week. And then we had posted a video on Friday and it went viral during the weekend. So when we came in on Monday, we had 500 applications, which was a huge leap from what we had the previous week. So we had even more options to look from. Instead of coming into a 20 to 25, we had a whole 500 pool of donors who were, and now those were just like, not all the donors, like those went through the pre-screening, passed the pre-screening, and still made it to that 500 pool.
Wow. So you just alluded to like, these weren't just people who were like casually looking, they actually went through the process. So what is the process when let's say someone sees your video on TikTok and it piques their interest, they want to move forward. What's the process? What typically happens and what do they need to do before they ever speak to you?
So after watching that video, we always redirect them to our bio in our Instagram or TikTok, and that link takes them directly to our application. It does do a couple of pre-screening questions, which is about your age, BMI, kind of more simple questions. And then once you pass that, you will go on to another set of questions, which is a little longer, but it's more in depth. It talks about more of your health history and such like that. And then once you are accepted for that second round, that's when I take a look at your application. And then once I approve, I will contact them and send them another quick 10 questions. And the reason why the 10 question is a little important as well is because we do ask if they're currently on birth control or not, because we do ask our donors to not be on any hormonal birth control for their donation process. But yeah, basically it is a couple questions to go through, and then they will get to me. And normally we do And we do answer any questions they may have, because there's some girls who have never donated before. So we try to be as helpful as we can, kind of breaking down the whole process for them.
So, to someone who is on the outside who's never done this, and they hear you talking about these forms, it might seem like it's all automated and there's a computer system and it's all AI. Today's everything is AI. So, they might think that there's really no real human behind everything. So what I hear you saying is that in the beginning, there is a little bit of that, there's a little bit of a screening. So there's some forms they have to fill out, but then moving forward beyond that, it is human to human. You are still screening. You've got to filter out and make sure they really do qualify. And then you're hand holding them throughout the process. And it is more of a personal touch. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly. So right as soon as we do approve them, that's when I contact them with those questions, and they will fill those out, send them back to me. And then sometimes they do have, like I said, some questions. So I'll go ahead and answer those for them. And then sometimes some of them do prefer to hop on a Zoom call or a phone call to kind of makes it a little easier for them. So we're always open to doing that as well. We want to make sure that they're comfortable and that they know that we're here for them every step of the way.
Awesome. So the time when let's just say from the time they see a TikTok to when they click on the link and start to inquire, to when you get to them and then you give them the thumbs up and approve them to move forward, before they do anything beyond that, how much time does that typically take?
I would say about 3 days.
Okay. And then let's say they move forward, and I know this is going to change this varies for everybody based on if they were on birth control or not, where they are and so forth. But once they say, yes, I'm ready to move forward and donate eggs, how long does it typically take from that point to actually when they actually retrieve eggs to be donated?
So once I have approved them, it does take this part does vary. It kind of could take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months to get matched. And then once the donor is matched, it also depends on if they went off birth control or waited until they were matched to get off birth control, because we also give them that option if they feel more comfortable waiting. So they have to have 2 normal periods before starting the process itself. And then the egg donation process itself takes about 6 to 8 weeks, only because there is a waiting period to get some results back during that time. And then the egg retrieval itself is the last week of the whole process. It's kind of go in the stimulation, and then the egg retrieval itself is 15 minutes, which is 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Right. So I know that part takes some time. Are they always being matched with an intended parent before they do an egg retrieval for freezing? Or do some of the donors just donate eggs in advance and then you freeze them, hold on to them, and allow them to be stored in a bank to be used in the future?
We do that, but it's very rare occasions. Mostly what we do is we wait until they are matched to start the entire process.
Great to know. Okay.
Yeah.
And I imagine you're communicating with the donors throughout this entire process at every stage. There might be a little bit of a time frame where they're not hearing from you because they're waiting to be matched, but other than that, they're in communication with you.
Yeah. So during that waiting period, when they are waiting to get matched, there's not much communication, but we are open to them asking us questions. I know they might have questions during that waiting period. And then once they are matched, I would say we talk to them basically almost every day, kind of just reminding them about their appointments or the stimulation shots they need to take, or any paperwork that they need to get signed. So once they are matched, we talk to them basically almost every day. So we're sending them updates all the time.
Awesome. And do they ever get to meet the intended parents, or is this, all separate and anonymous?
For the most part, most of our IPs are anonymous with our donors, so it doesn't really ever happen. But if both parties are open to wanting to know each other, we do have a Zoom call between the donor and the IPs, and then we're also there to kind of, be with them. But it's pretty rare that they're known on both parties. Yeah.
So, I should have asked this question a little bit earlier when we were talking about the screening process. But I know that there's some criteria that might screen a woman who's wanting to donate her eggs out and she wouldn't be a good fit. And you had those 500 applications that came in on that one example you gave. You've got to filter through that. So what might be some of the key things that you would look at that would say, no, this person is not a good fit?
So one of the key things would be if they're not in that age range that we're looking for of 19 to 29 and have a BMI, we would prefer for them to have BMI under 30. And then we also look for if they have any genetically inherited diseases that they may carry within their family. So we have some that we do kind of could work around, and there's some that unfortunately would disqualify them. And then those are some that we look for.
So when you're talking about BMI, and I don't know if everybody listening understands what BMI is, it's body mass index. And so having a lower BMI tells somebody that they're in a healthy weight range. So if someone is too high, you said 30 or above 30, that means they're overweight or obese. And so in that situation, they would not qualify, correct?
So the reason for that is because we do want to make sure that they're in good health for the retrieval process.
And is there a time where their BMI might be too low that they don't qualify?
Yes, we do have instances like that as well. So that's kind of like another thing that we look out for during the applications.
Okay. So now I want to end with like a fun question about social media and TikTok. I know you mentioned there's one video that went viral, and I'm not sure if that is the same when I asked this question, but what was the most memorable TikTok that you made, and what was the outcome of it?
So one of the most memorable, sorry, I can't say that word. So one of those TikToks would be, a lot of people ask, what's the process like, which can get a little confusing. So we ended up doing a whole photo slideshow on TikTok, which is a new feature that they came up with. And it kind of breaks down every single step from you applying to you getting accepted, to getting your text, to going through the whole process. We had a really good outcome for that. And I feel like it's also nice. So when donors ask, how does the process go? We kind of redirect them to that video.
That's great. And did that video yield a lot of traction?
That one didn't so much, but it still was nice to educate the viewers on what to expect. It didn't blow up like the other one. The other one did bring a lot on Monday. I came in, there was so many applications it took me like more than a week to get through all of them.
Out of curiosity, when you had that many, what percentage or how many of the 500 were able to move on to the next phase?
Mostly all of them because they already had passed the pre-screening. So I'm sure there was even more that had applied that maybe didn't even make it past the pre-screening. So the 500 ones that I did come into, they did pass those requirements, those 3 requirements that we had. So out of the 500, we did accept all of them because those had already passed the original pre-screening that we have for donors. So they all made it past that second round.
That's awesome, which actually, goes to or speaks to the amount of donors you all have in the database. My understanding at last look, it was like over 1,800 or close to 2,000 donors in the database. Is that still accurate? Has that number changed?
It's gone up since then, and it's really amazing because now we have even more options for the IPs. For example, I had an IP who was looking for a specific eye color, and she wanted to make sure she went to a specific school, and we were able to break it down to find her that specific donor that she was looking for.
That's amazing. So it really speaks true to the huge database and big variety and depth of donors that Your Eggs has. So for everybody listening, this is not something we just say because we say it. It's fact. Your Eggs has, if not the largest donor database, one of the largest donor databases in the world. And with that, you have opportunities like you just mentioned, Tiana, where you could really look for really specific things, a specific school and specific characteristics and personality traits that resonate with you. And that's truly, truly amazing. So thank you so much, Gianna, for joining me today and for educating all of us on what that experience is like to be a coordinator on that side and what it's like to accept someone and walk them through that process. I'm sure that everybody watching will find this information valuable. So thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for all of you watching, it's really special to be an egg donor and provide and be there as part of the fertility journey for intended parents. It's really a special opportunity. And at Your Eggs, we take that very seriously, which is why we have such a rigorous screening process, be able to go through that process and be able to accept and pull in this volume of potential donors for all of you. So if you're an intended parent and you want more information on using Your Eggs on your fertility journey, then you can always download the Your Eggs app or go to youreggs.com. The same is true if you are a donor or want to be a donor and you want to be using or be part of our database. You can also use the app and the website youreggs.com to check that out. We'll put all of that information in the link below. And as a reminder for everybody, we do have a new video that walks you through using the app, a step-by-step video walking you through that app, and you can check that out also using the link that we drop in the description below. Until the next video, everyone, bye.